Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news as Rangnick arrives and we get a big hint about when his first game is going to be. Also links to Roberto Mancini to take over as Manchester United's job in the summer. Lots to talk about tonight and let's get straight into it. Also, one thing I do want to talk about tonight, I must admit, is I want to talk about... who do I want to talk about? I want to talk about Fred. Yeah, I want to talk about Fred. I want to talk about Fred and what he's going to be all about. But yeah, Ralf Rangnick has arrived and it looks like he will be managing the Crystal Palace game, not the Arsenal game. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Mancini. I also want to talk about, I've watched the Chelsea game for the third time. I'm turning into Ricky. I'm telling you now, Mark, watch the match 3 times. It gets better. It doesn't get better, but it does let you watch a game in a very pragmatic way. And there was a few things I picked up that I thought were really good as well. So, and we'll also get into your questions as per usual. Oh shit. As you can see on the screen, we are sponsored by Manscaped. It is Christmas. We need a bit of balls from Manchester United. Trim the grass to make your yard look bigger. It's holiday season and that means there are stockings to be stuffed. Well, today's sponsor Manscaped has gone global with the tools to guarantee you will score under the tree and the mistletoe this Christmas. Manscaped is the leader in men's below the waist grooming and they've served more than 4 million men worldwide. So let's remind ourselves about why the Lawnmower 4.0 is so good. It's got a new multifunctional on and off switch and travel lock, created for people who like to travel. The ability to turn the LED spotlight on and off when needing a more precise shave. The new trimmer also allows you to customise your trim with additional guard lengths and it's sleeked with a 2-toned matte gloss finish, even featuring a hot foil stamped black chrome with Manscaped's logo on it. Very fancy. And of course its wireless charging system uses electromatic induction which can help battery life last longer. Very, very fancy. Alongside the new Lawnmower 4.0, Manscaped have also launched the brand new performance package. Inside this you'll find the Lawnmower 4.0 obviously, but also the Weed Whacker, the Crop Preserver, the Crop Reviver, very comfy boxer shorts and a travel bag. And because Manscaped care about everyone that watches the United Stand, they're giving a huge 20% off plus free shipping when you click the link in the channel description. So what are you waiting for? Head over to themanscaped.com and click the link in the description. It will automatically take the 20% off for you. They're really good products. What is the Weed Whacker? It does your nose. You do get, I don't care, you know, all you young'uns, you'll be going, I'll never be doing that. You will be doing that. You'll really be doing this because, trust me, you don't want to leave it unkept. You know, you'll have ants bungee jumping past your mouth. But trim the grass to make the yard look bigger and fantastic male grooming kit there. Christmas is coming. Treat yourself or get someone else to do it for you with 20% off. If you've got any partners watching, very good idea and you get 20% off and free worldwide shipping. So check it out, Manscaped. Thank you very much for them. Okay, let's get on with it. I've been told to get on with it now. Could you see Rangnick taking a liking to Twansebi if he was to stay on? Young and quick, which can help with the high line of the players. Jamie, I just want to say, I want to talk about that a little bit more in detail in a little bit because I think you're not the first person over the last couple of days to mention Twansebi and yeah. The short answer is yes, I think he could work there. If you think about Leipzig centre-backs that they've had, and I can't remember whether there was a crossover with Rangnick. There probably was with Upamecano. In fact, I think he was part of the development of Upamecano. But if you think about the centre-backs of Upamecano, Canate, Quick, centre-backs, then yeah, you know, I mean, look, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Eric Bailly, not just Axel Twansebi. But look, let's move on with the show and start off with Rangnick arrives. Rangnick arrives. We're going to start off with this. We'll also talk about Mancini and a few other bits as well. So, Manchester United. Kitty, I'm just going to block you. Let's get rid of you. Goodbye. Can't be arsed with the set. We were talking about Manscaped 2 minutes ago. Shut up and go away if you don't want to watch the channel. Like, I know that's very blunt, but it finished 2 minutes ago. We're talking about the show now. Chill out. Go and watch Newcastle get relegated. That's good fun. Sinking like the Titanic. That's so funny. Not the Titanic, rest in peace, although it's a very good film. She could have got him on that door. I've always said that. She could have got him on that door. Jack died for nothing. You know, sexism basically. In the early 1900s. You had to lie in the water and let the girl get on the door. Nowadays, it'd be very interesting, wouldn't it? You know, literally, you could shove her off, get on, and that, you know, that's equal rights. Although the shove would probably be seen as an assault. Good to see Brandon Williams starting regularly for Dean Smith at Norwich too. With proper coaching, I think there's definitely a player there, says Nate H. Look, the slate is clean for everybody. So let me bring you up to date with what is happening with Ralf Rangnick. Ralf Rangnick is in England. Ralf Rangnick is waiting on a work visa. This is expected to be done in plenty of time for the Crystal Palace game. Manchester United, according to the Manchester Evening News, expect Ralf Rangnick to be in charge of the Crystal Palace game on Sunday, which is bloody typical because it's not on the telly. But, we'll still be having a watch along. But my point is, he will not be in charge for the Arsenal game. There was some talk this afternoon, even I tweeted about it. People were talking about mid-December. That won't happen. It's Manchester United at the end of the day. This will be expedited and done, but it will not be done in time. And basically, even if the visa came through tonight or tomorrow, decision's already been made by the club that Carrick will be in charge of the Arsenal game, which some might say is very risky. Marius, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And let's have a look. But in relation to Rangnick, I feel that he basically, the understanding is that even if he had clearance tomorrow, he wouldn't be training the team on Thursday because he would want a training session with the team ahead of the game, which he wouldn't get. We can't even get a simple work visa correct. Every foreign transfer appointment we have visa issues. Do other clubs have this problem or just us, says Clay S. I think there is an aspect of the fact that he hasn't managed, but the reality is, look, Manchester United have made a good appointment in Ralf Rangnick, and I'm going to praise it. But I'm never going to lose my suspicion that there is incompetence in that football club, and I think they have been incompetent here. The obvious incompetence is that they didn't have a plan B. The plan B should have been executed in the international break. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should have been sacked after Liverpool and after Man City, not Liverpool. He should have been sacked after Liverpool. We forget that we had a whole week after the Liverpool game we could have sacked him. Man City loss was actually the international break. He should have been gone. They could have got Rangnick in across the 2 weeks. He would have had training sessions ahead of Watford. That is where the club's gone wrong. It's nothing for fans to fall out about. It's nothing for the media to fall out about. It's a very pragmatic view on what's gone wrong. And there's two people to blame. Ed Woodward and Joel Glazer thought they knew best in spite of media, fans, ex-players. In a majority saying he's got to go, they decided, no, we're going to stick with Ollie. And basically, it's bit them on the arse big time because now we don't have Rangnick for the Arsenal game. We didn't have Rangnick for the Watford game. And if we don't beat Arsenal on Thursday and we don't get top four, it won't be on Rangnick. It won't be on Ollie. It'll be on the board. And look, they can sit there and go, these visas take a bit of time. Maybe they do take a bit of time. But it doesn't excuse the fact that you should have sacked Ollie in the international break. I couldn't give two shits about the delay on the visa. Of course, this is what happens when you don't have a plan after Watford. You spend a week getting a manager in and then another week getting his visa done. We played Watford 2 weeks ago on Saturday, and Rangnick's not going to be in charge until 2 weeks on one day. It's just not. It's going to get sorted. It will be sorted, but the reality is this is just based on the club, really. Welcome to the Members Club, Marius. Welcome to Members Club, Sebastian. All I want for Christmas is Sue. Christmas jumpers would be spicy, says Shane Christmas. I've seen it, though. It would be copying somebody else's design. I forgot I had my Christmas jumper on anyway. Might be my last super chat for a bit, financial reasons, but want to say keep up the awesome content, Mark. Excited for Wreck-It Ralph. What comes next? And Merry Early Christmas, says Brandon. Hopefully 3 points against Arsenal. A high press will work great with Ronaldo parked at the top of the box. Love the show, Mark, says Canna. And hi, Mark. How long realistically do you think it will take Rangnick to train the players to be comfortable playing his style as we have so few trainings, says Hans. I want to talk about that anyway. Conte got his work visa on the 4th of November, but he first took training at Spurs on the 2nd. Spurs briefed that Conte was just observing. Why can't Ralph just observe our training in the same way, says Alex. Yeah, exactly. I didn't even know that, Alex. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it? If that is true from Alex, and I really appreciate the super chat anyway, but if that is true from Alex, it just shows you the incompetence. Why is Rangnick not on the training ground? Piano, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. And John says, Andres Pereira at Cam got a chance. Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, John, but you never know. We should look at Mikael from Leipzig. Tall, right back, very physical and good at attacking. 24 as well, says Daniel Kirk. I've said this before, Daniel. I think that the fact that the door is wide open to Manchester United now in relation to Europe, where I don't think it was. I mean, I really don't. I said this 2 years ago when Ollie was doing well. I just don't think Ollie, Carrick, McKenna, Phelan knew the European market enough to be confident about it. And I'm not even having a pop at them here. I think it was basically, well, we know what Declan Rice is like because we see him. We know what Wan-Bissaka's like because we see it. We know what Maguire's like because we see it. We don't really know what he's like because we don't watch that league. And I think that's going to change now. And again, any indication as to how much freedom budget Rangnick will have in January, I would wonder how much he can shake things up squad-wise in 6 months as the LMH. Well, I want to talk about Mancini in a moment, but let me just talk about this. I watched Manchester United play Chelsea again for the 3rd time today. And I tweeted it as well, and I'll say it to you now. The thing that struck me, and look, I saw a clip about McTominay, and I'm going to defend McTominay here, look, because it shouldn't be about an agenda. I just don't rate him. I don't. But I don't rate Maguire at the moment. And Bruno's playing badly at the moment, and everyone knows how much I like Bruno. So I don't rate that. But look, McTominay's not the only one who does this. I would say there's 70% of our team doing this. And I purposely watched the Chelsea game this evening because I wanted to just watch to think about what Rangnick would do. And I've got no right to say what Rangnick would do. He's a far better coach than any of us. But I noticed that Manchester United received the ball, and we've seen this a lot this season, and you can think about who it is and what players do it. They receive the ball, they look, and then they take another touch, and then they pass it backwards or sideways. Even when sometimes there's 2 or 3 forward passes on. It's not that the pass isn't on, they're just programmed. And it might be them personally, or it might be coaching, or it might be a combination of the two. But you watch that Chelsea game, there's a lot of players who get the ball, take a touch, have a look, take a touch and pass it backwards and sideways. Rangnick's going to absolutely change that. You think about the amount of sideways passes we take, the amount of touches we take on the ball. That's going to stop. Now, some of these players won't be able to do it. They're just not naturally programmed to do it in their head. It takes confidence and football intellect to take a ball and pass it straight away. But that is something that's going to change drastically. And it goes back to what somebody said before about how long do you think it will take? Well, how long is a piece of string? I could grab a football player of Man United and say, I've watched your last 10 games. You're taking too many touches on the ball. You're turning one way, you're going the other way, and then you're passing it backwards. I want you to take a maximum of 2 seconds on the ball. And the interesting thing was we were talking about this 6 months ago, not knowing we would get Rangnick. We were talking about speeding the tempo up and Manchester United using players that will grab the ball, sometimes hit it first time, but certainly one touch, bang, 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 bang. And it's how long the players are going to get, it's one, whether they can do that. It's 2, how long it takes them to do that. Any induction as to how much rat freedom, we've done that from the LMH. As for the budget in the summer, I don't know. I think, I don't think Man United really have budgets. I think Manchester United have requests and sanction them or they don't. I think a midfielder is very, very important, and that's what Manchester United need to bring in, really. You question Ralf Rangnick's competence if he plays McFred, given their stats and performance lately, says Jower. I mean, Jesse Lingard is going to thrive a lot from Ralf, says Holly Murphy. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, the thing about Lingard is people say he runs around a lot, so he's going to work well under Rangnick. I can see that, but also I think he's one of the worst players in the team for passing it backwards. The amount of times I've seen Lingard over the last 5 years dribble with the ball a bit, look forward, and then lazily pass it backwards. If he can start passing the ball forward, then maybe he can be part of it. But the problem Lingard's got is he's still got Bruno, Pogba, Van der Beek, Sancho, Rashford, Martial, Diallo, still got loads of competition in his position. But going back to that comment before, I think it's really good. Will you turn against Ralf Rangnick if he picks McFred? Well, for one, you can listen to what people say on social media if you want to, but where and why I get associated with certain people who are ridiculously toxic, I don't know, because I actually stuck with Ollie a lot longer than a lot of you. I stuck with Mourinho a lot longer than a lot of you. So our last 2 managers, I've actually stuck with them for longer than most people. Yes, I called them out on bad tactics, but I didn't say, get out, get out. So I'm not somebody who really ever wants to go against the manager. That's not how I want to be. I will do it if I think all is lost, and I was very early on Van Gaal. But I'm not going to sit here and say if Rangnick picks McTominay and Fred, I'm going to be Rangnick out, because it's very much about what that how those players perform and what he does with them. I was thinking about this the other day, actually. If you were the owner of Manchester United, what would the target you will be setting for Ralf for the remainder of the season, says Nikhil? 4th place, really. I think that's what he's got. That's his target because of the mess they've given him. Do you think we're still headed for the squad implosion you were mentioning earlier, videos, says Gog? And I hope he tells Maguire to stop getting the ball and turning his back, playing for the foul in our half all the time. Even better if he drops him, says Dan Watson. And Mark, what do you think of Twitter's new rules about sharing pictures of people without their consent? The United stand won't be able to share videos, says Kevin B. Well, we own our own videos, so I don't know what you mean. United stand doesn't really do that, so I don't run the United stand Twitter anyway, so I don't really know what it does, to be honest with you. But the videos that they put out are our videos, so they would be able to do that. So I don't really know about that. I will take a note of it and look into it, I suppose. But going back to the most important thing, just before I talk about Mancini, I was thinking about this before, and I always use Matic, but let me use Fred as an example, right? Fred, for the last 8 months, has been crap. You know, let's not beat about the bush. People will say he played really well on Sunday. Did I say that? Over the last 8 months, Fred's been crap. I've seen it in your comments. I've seen it on player ratings, not just on the United stand. I've seen him. You know, I've seen Paul Ince talk about it. I've seen Roy Keane talk about it. I've seen Gary Neville talk about it. Fred has basically been described as crap for the last 8 months. Against Chelsea, he was really good. Now, before COVID, Fred was really good. Remember when we used to do the chart show, and hopefully we can bring that back now if we're going to play good football. Fred used to be number 1 quite a lot. He was always in the top 3. Fred has been a good player for Manchester United. He's also been really crap the last 8 months. So if Fred starts playing really well under Rangnick, which I think he can, and people start going through old tweets of people going, "Man, you're saying he's good, but you said he was shit." That's the sort of stupidity you get online, by the way. Because people will go, Fred's proved you wrong. Fred's proved you wrong. You said he was shit and he's good. Yeah, he's not proved anybody wrong. You know what he's done? I can't be arsed with this proved you wrong. He's not proved anybody wrong. He's turned it round. He's not proved anyone wrong because he was crap for 8 months. It's a fact. He's been crap for the last 8 months. Before that, he was pretty good. For the last 8 months, he's been crap. And for the next 8 months, he might be quite good. So, you know, it would be totally wrong of me to say if Ralf Rangnick picks McTominay and Fred, I'm going to be having a pop at Rangnick, because what if they become really good? Because he's a good coach. And that's what a clean slate is. And if they do become really good, they've proved nobody wrong, because they were absolutely shite this season. And absolutely shite. As a midfield pair, they've been beaten and dominated by Villa, Everton, Leicester. You know, loads of... Not Leicester, because that was Pogba and Matic, wasn't it? But they have been crap this season. But if they become good under Rangnick, that's what a clean slate's all about. So it's not about being proved wrong. It's about turning it round. So I can't sit here and say, if Rangnick picks McTominay and Fred, he's an idiot. Because what if he turns them into a really good midfield too? And who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But I think but that's what a clean slate is. And unfortunately, there are people out there that don't understand that, because they think if you say something 4 months ago when he was crap, and then they go back to it when he's good, that makes you look an idiot. Well, no, it doesn't. He was crap 4 months ago. He's good now. Well done. He's turned it round. He's not proved anybody wrong. So, you know, I think Fred's a really good example of a player that I think Rangnick will really try to turn into a good player, but he might not be good enough. I mean, at the end of the day, that might be why we're looking at different types of players, because Fred's, 27, 28? His first touch is abysmal. And can he improve on that at 27, 28? I don't know. But he's certainly got a lot of things in his locker that make him admirable to what Rangnick would like to do. I do feel Murtaugh wanted Rangnick, not Woodward. I do feel that the Glazers don't support Woodward anymore over the past decisions, says Mr. Clement 7. Finally trusting a manager, what a feeling, says Rudolph the Red. Well, look, I must just bring this in before I forget. Some fantastic questions coming in tonight, but we have been... the only reason I mention this is because of where it's come from. It's come from The Telegraph and it's come from James Ducker, who's reasonable when it comes to Manchester United news. Certainly not the Daily Star or something like that. You know, he is fairly credible. He's saying that Manchester United could consider Roberto Mancini as a manager in the summer, dependent on what happens with Italy, who may or may not be in the World Cup. Let's put it this way, either Italy or Portugal will be in the World Cup. So it's going to be, well, but neither of them could be if they don't make it through to the playoff final. But so there is talk that Mancini could be a Manchester United manager. I mean, look, I remember Mancini being mentioned a few weeks ago, and a few people didn't like it, and I said I would take Mancini. I liked the football he played at Manchester City. I liked the football that he played with Italy in the Euros. It would be an odd one. I mean, but maybe Rangnick would say that's the sort of manager we need. I mean, and that's the whole point. For me, I quite. I'm not going to mimic an Indian accent for you, Sam. I really do think that this is good to have links to Mancini or links to Ten Hag or links to Pochettino or links to Nagelsmann, or, you know, whether they're realistic or not. Is that not the whole point of assessing targets over the next 7 months, instead of just going headlong into Pochettino, who probably will be sacked by PSG? And if he's sacked by PSG, he's been sacked by Spurs. Sometimes you've got to take the lesson from being sacked. Now, some people would say, well, Tuchel, PSG, look what happened there. But Mourinho, sacked by Chelsea, was done, and we thought he wasn't done. So I think United have got to take into account who's doing well over the next 7 months, and maybe look at a bit of momentum or recent history, because, you know, if Ten Hag does really well in the Champions League, he's got momentum with him. If Pochettino gets sacked by PSG, he's got momentum with him. If PSG win the Champions League with Pochettino, will Pochettino want to come to us? Probably not. So, you know, you've got to look at lots of different things. On Mancini, I must admit, I don't really see his football being that similar to Rangnick. But, you know, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it, because at the end of the day, I actually think it's a positive that we get linked to a few managers, instead of we want Pochettino in November, we want Pochettino in May. Let's see, you know, the whole point is let's see what happens over the next 7 months. Do you think Rangnick will use Greenwood, says Alfred? Well, we've already had somebody saying he'll use Lingard. I mean, again, there's another player. I don't know what Rangnick's going to do. I really don't know what he's going to do. I hope that we will see. I mean, what I want to see with Manchester United under Rangnick is, and we went through all the tactics last night, so I'm not going to do that. We know what we're going to get. I want to see high energy. I want to see high pressing. I want to see lots of chances, and therefore I want to see lots of rotation. I don't want to see, and this to me is a move away from the favouritism. I think it's become very obvious under Ollie. I mean, we look at last season. We're all focused on this season because it's the season that he got the sack, but there was a lot that went wrong with last season. I remember after the Europa League final, we were talking about it, and there was a big list of things. You know, we don't defend set pieces. The forwards are graveyard shift. We're crap against the low block. Our tempo is too slow. We don't rotate. We don't make subs soon enough. There was a few things, and that was despite getting to Europa League final, an FA Cup semi-final, and coming second in the league. But nobody was really convinced by that, because it was a COVID season. There was no fans in the ground. Lots of other clubs had more problems than we did. And if you remember correctly, Ollie basically used the same 13, 14 players all season, 3 times a week. Burnt them out, ran them into the ground. Favourites FC. There is no way under Rangnick's system you can do that. The reason Ollie got away with it is because we didn't really run around a lot. We were counter-attacking, defensive. We won a lot of games by 1 goal here and there. And he used the same 13, 14 players, Favourites FC. What I want to see, and I think we are going to see this, is that we've already spoken about the huge contrast between how Ollie plays football and how Rangnick plays football. I think we're also going to see a huge contrast in how Ollie used the same set of players and Rangnick uses a lot of players. Because if you're playing Arsenal under Rangnick and you go full at it for 90 minutes and you use your 3 subs, that's 14 players used. When you play Palace 3 days later, you change 4 of the starting 11 and you use another 3 subs. You know, there's quite a big rotation there, and that's what I want to see. I want to see Manchester United become a system and not about favourites. I think for the last 3 years it's been about Bruno. This season it's been about Ronaldo and De Gea. In previous, you know, Luke Shaw last year, Rashford, Greenwood at times, Pogba at times. We've become a team that's very individualistic. Moments FC, favouritism FC. These are words that you've used. What I want to see with Manchester United now is Manchester United. A new United. And as part of the good football I want to see, I also want to see rotation. I want to see maybe against Arsenal on the left-hand side, it's Sancho on the right and it's Rashford on the left. But then maybe against Crystal Palace, it's Greenwood on the right and it's Martial on the left. And the other two are on the bench. And after with half an hour to go, they both come on and they both go off. That, maybe against Arsenal, Bruno starts, but and Donny comes on for the last 20 minutes. But then again, against Palace, Donny starts and Bruno comes on for the last 20 minutes. And everybody's in harmony with that because there's lots of games and it's intense and we need high energy. That's what I want to see from Manchester United. So, people say, are we going to use Greenwood? Well, I would hope so. But I think we need to move away from this Greenwood starts every game, Sancho starts every game, Rashford starts every game, Bruno starts every game that we saw under Ollie. We need to rotate. And the way we're going to hopefully play will demand that we rotate, because the one thing that is absolutely set in stone is that we are in December, we are 3 months into a season, and you're asking these players to go from being a counter-attacking team to a high-pressing team. Their fitness levels are not going to be able to deal with this, and people are going to get injured. So we're going to need to use and trust that wider squad. Do you see Fred against Chelsea? Thought he was good? I did. I watched it with you, Jasper. I thought he was good as well. Boris Johnson, we're only asking you to wear a mask, not a fucking Everton shirt, says Luke82. Picture this, United in Champions League final under Rangnick. Rangnick wants to take on Klopp and Tuchel, the very people who won stuff with his tactics in the league, says Summerjet. And hi Mark, do you think it is possible for Manchester United to get top four in the Premier League this season and semi-final at least in the Champions League, says Marius? Well, I think it's possible to get fourth place in the Champions League. I mean, that should be our where we were anyway from the start of the season. I think you're asking for a lot in the semi-final, because if you pull out Bayern Munich or Man City or Chelsea or Liverpool in the quarterfinals, I would suspect we're going to probably go out. But I mean, that's an interesting point as well. I did want to bring this in. I mean, I don't know where is that a true quote from Boris, by the way? Surely that's not. But if it is, it's very funny. Please smash a like on the video, by the way, and subscribe, bottom right hand corner. It's funny story actually from behind the scenes. Ryan is somebody who works behind the scenes on the United stand, and you might have seen him from the Instagram photos. And I said to him, I've got an idea for a video tomorrow afternoon. I really want to do it as a live video at 2:00. And he was like, yeah, that's a really good idea, but there is a press conference tomorrow. I was like, oh shit, yeah. I completely forgot there's a press conference tomorrow. And you know why I forgot? And I did say this to Ryan. I said, I don't really want to watch it because it's Michael Carrick and I find him really boring. And I just do. I completely forgot there was a press conference tomorrow because I just find Michael Carrick really bland to listen to. And I loved Michael Carrick as a footballer, and his book is very good. I've got it. I used to have it on the side of my bed. It's a great book to go to sleep to, and not because it's boring and bland, but I really did like Michael Carrick as a footballer, and his career is really interesting. But as a manager, I've got to say I find him really, really, really bland, and I'd forgotten that there is a press conference tomorrow with Carrick tomorrow. But I think, in fairness to Carrick, it's sort of like, well, what, after tomorrow, we're never really going to hear from him again anyway, because he's just, he's just going to become a coach again. But I am going somewhere with this. I was on social media today and I saw something getting quite a lot of interaction, and it was an Ollie. Now, this is not my word. They call them Ollie sexuals. I don't know what that means, but I think it basically means that they're in love with Ollie no matter what. Now, I don't know whether I fall into that category, because I do love Ollie the player. I always will do. Never ever forget 99, but I loved the sending off that he did when he was the last man. So I loved Solskjaer as a player. He's a firm fan favourite. Thanks for all the quality content on United Stand. Big respect, says it's your boy Calv, and also welcome to the members club, Srijit. But yeah, they call them Ollie sexuals, and basically there was this argument going on, and I thought I've got to bring it into the United Stand show tonight. So basically somebody had said something along the lines of, it's funny how when Rangnick takes over, everyone's saying this team's not good enough to win the title and fourth place is good enough. But under Ollie, it was like, we've got to win a title. And basically just shows you the bias. And I was like, oh, the replies were hilarious. But I was sort of like, do you not realise this is December and the reason people are saying we can't win the league is because we've taken 5 points from 24, we're 12 points off the top and the team is in a mess. And when Ollie had the team, he just bought Ronaldo and it was the start of the season and people expected a title challenge. That's why. I think if this was the start of it, I think if it was roles reversed and Rangnick had been the manager at the start of the season, people would have said we should challenge for a title. But then he got sacked with 4 points from 21 and Ollie came in, people wouldn't be saying Ollie should win the title with this squad. I know. I don't understand it. But apparently there are people out there there definitely are people out there on social media with all sorts of thoughts. But apparently there's still people like who are almost starting to have a pop at Rangnick and defend Ollie, which I think you spin the situation round and no one would expect Ollie to win the league with this squad because it's 12 points off the top and in a mess. That's why people are saying there's a lot of work to do for Rangnick. But to set, I just don't know how you compare the two. I really don't. But Man United fans were mocking Leeds fans for saying Bielsa thought Pep, so that makes him a good manager. Now that's what they're doing with Rangnick. Man United fans were mocking Leeds for saying Bielsa taught Pep, so that makes him a good manager. Now that's what they're doing with Rangnick, says Cade. I mean, that's a very broad stroke statement. I don't like Man United fans did this against this, that and the other. I mean, I like Bielsa. I'm a Man United fan, I like Bielsa. I know lots of Man United fans that like the way that Leeds play as well. I don't know whether Bielsa really did. Bielsa didn't teach Pep, did he? I don't think he did. I think Pep's style of football was, a hybrid of the Barcelona style of football. But I don't know, people mock everybody, don't they? I mean, I think Bielsa's had a lot of stick over the years, but I actually like the way he plays football. I mean, what I would say about Bielsa is that, look at that Leeds team. It's a championship team, basically. Most of the players in that Leeds team are championship players. There's not many people queuing up to buy Leeds players. You look at West Ham. West Ham have got a lot of players where you think a lot of Premier League clubs would like some of their players. I don't think there's a massive queue to get Leeds players. There's one or two, but Bielsa's done a fantastic job with championship players, so I think you need to forget that. Remember that. Hi Mark, my mate Callum's just turned 21. Please could you wish him a happy birthday? His love for the show is only rivaled by his love for Fred, says Big JP. Well, happy birthday Callum, happy 21st, and also, you know what? Happy 21st, and I think Fred's on the up. I think you might have backed a good horse there. I think Fred might be on the up, so watch out for that one. Really, really good. Yeah, Rafinha's a player that I would say is Premier League quality. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. So yeah, just to summarise, chuck your questions in. Rangnick, regardless of whether he gets the visa tomorrow, Michael Carrick will be in charge. It's expected that Rangnick will be in charge for the Crystal Palace game. He'll only have one training session, but next week will be the game where it works. I mean, unfortunately, we're somewhat hindered for the game against Young Boys because that was meant to be at Old Trafford, a week at Carrington for Rangnick. You put a reserve team out if you want to, but apparently we're going to have to travel for that game now because it's going to be on neutral ground because of some COVID rules. So that's a bit of a pain. Hi Mark, you realise if we lose to Arsenal, we are 8 points behind them. How embarrassing, says Yazuth. And also, is Mr. Carrick should be feeling like he has just won a lottery ticket to have a chance of a great apprenticeship provided by a new coach, says Marius. Yeah, I mean, I think we need to move on from that. I mean, Michael Carrick is just very lucky. Very, very lucky to still be in a job. I think Roy Keane or somebody said it. It's just very. I mean, Paul Scholes said it's embarrassing. I don't think it's lost on people. And look, don't listen to me. Listen to ex-legends of the club if you want to. If you value that more than you value a fan's opinion. But I think Michael Carrick's very lucky. He was a massive part of what happened under Solskjaer. A massive part, and he is now the manager until Saturday, and then he's the assistant coach again. Very, very lucky to still be at the football club, and very, very lucky that the positivity of Rangnick has sort of absorbed the negativity towards that coaching staff, who, for me, were massively responsible for the poor football of this season and last. And very lucky to still be in a job, but we've got to move on from it. Of course we have. As for that previous comment about Arsenal, this is I don't want to worry about it because I want to go into it with positive feelings, and I think that whilst Rangnick can't take over the team, hopefully he's had some input ahead of that Arsenal game, or at the very minimum the players know he's the manager and want to impress him. I expect a performance from Manchester United on Thursday night, but if we did lose, you'd have to look at the board. Not Carrick, not Solskjaer, not Rangnick. You'd have to look at the board and say, how have we gone from an international break where we did sod all, 2 weeks after a Watford pounding, and we're still using the same coaches that were in charge for the Watford game. So this is a big risk for the club, and they'll be praying that there is a result on Thursday, because if it goes wrong, it goes on the board, because it's ridiculous that we weren't set and prepared for what is arguably our biggest game of the season. And Arsenal fans will probably quite like that hype, but it's true. It's a massive game for us. They're 5 points ahead of us. A point for them is probably not a bad point. They'll be fancying getting 3. I know what Arsenal fans are like. They'll be fancying getting 3, and why wouldn't they? Their form is good. Check the preview from this afternoon. But if they were to win that, 8 points ahead of us, we're probably mid-table. It's very difficult. Very difficult. We can come back from it, definitely. We've got a good run of fixtures after it, but we shouldn't have been in this situation. We should have been going into the Arsenal game with Rangnick at the wheel, so to speak, and big massive bounce and a different style of football. We're not going to get that on Thursday, I don't think. The fact that we no longer have the Carabao to experience with the youth really bothers me. It would have been delightful to watch Ralf Rangnick's lineups there, says Mario. But if we'd been in the Carabao Cup, Ollie might not have been sacked. Will Rangnick bring in his own coaching staff? I heard he's going to be allowed to bring in at least one, says AMZ. I hope so. I think that's very important. Very important. And I'll go back to what I said a few days, why I think it's important. Rangnick's coming into this football club to rebuild and teach the director of football, basically, to help the new CEO on how to run a football club. He's also got to resolve the playing squad and teach that how to play football. And then you also want him to teach these coaches how to coach. I mean, look, try and give him at least some help, because he's one man. And, that's the miracle you're asking for. I know Christmas is coming, but you're asking for a Christmas miracle. You want him to get a team that plays negative football to play amazingly positive football. You want him to teach coaches who taught them negative football to teach positive football. You want him to teach a director of football and a technical director how to be really good at their job. And you also want to teach a CEO how to keep their nose out of it and leave it to the football people. That's 4 big jobs to do. So I would love him to be bringing some coaches with him that he trusts, because that will make that aspect of the job and the teaching of the players a lot easier. But having to teach the coaches how to teach the players is another job for him, isn't it? So I do worry about that a little bit, and I wonder about the club again. Really, they should really be letting him bring who he wants to bring in, but we'll see on that one. Jacob says, hi Mark, from what we know about Rangnick, who do you think will be his top 5 choices for the coaching job this summer? I genuinely don't know. I mean, I think if he could get anybody, he'd probably go for Nagelsmann, wouldn't he? I think that would be his perfect appointment, because Nagelsmann, young, Leipzig connections, very similar style of football. Him in the coaching role as a young manager, even though he's at Bayern Munich at the moment, and then Rangnick above him. I think he would love to do something like that, which therefore leads you towards Ten Hag. Ten Hag has always been thought of a man that would go from Ajax to the Bundesliga. So Bundesliga, German, Rangnick, Ten Hag looks like a good fit. I wouldn't rule out Pochettino, but I think Pochettino wants quite a lot of control. And I think we're going to be going to a very similar system to PSG, really, whereby we have a director of football and somebody who has an overarching role in Rangnick in the way that the club is structured. So maybe that wouldn't suit Pochettino anymore anyway. On the coach voice, Ralph talks about how Mane, Firmino, Salah learned to press in the system with good coaching under Klopp. Future's bright for United, says Kia. Ten Hag to Dortmund, calling it now, says Stephen. Ten Hag's already worked in the Bundesliga. I don't dispute it, Siggy, but I'm just telling you he's been predicted to go back to the Bundesliga. Who do you want to be the new permanent manager for United, if you could choose, says Christopher? Look, I'm very relaxed on this. couple of weeks ago, I was saying I'll take Zidane, Rodgers, Pochettino or Ten Hag. I don't care. Get any of them in because I'd be happy with any of them. You know, I'd rank them differently, but I'd be happy with any of them. With the manager situation, we don't have to do anything for 7 months. So I don't mind Mancini being linked to the job because it just shows that we're looking at lots of different options. That I want Manchester United to do what they should have done after Mourinho. Remember the words of Ed Woodward. What did Ed Woodward say? Ed Woodward said that after Mourinho was sacked, we're going to take our time and in the summer we will find a manager. What did he do? Ollie jumped at the wheel, a song was sung and Ed Woodward handed him a contract. So what I want to see happen this time is that we actually assess it properly and we give lots and lots of different options, consideration, and we make a calculated decision on what's best for Manchester United with lots of football people having a say on it, including Rangnick, Murta, maybe Darren Fletcher. You know, those. I don't want Carrick or Phelan or McKenna having any say on it. Your coaches, that's what you do. And can I just say, I'll scream. I'll absolutely scream if Rangnick does the job for 7 months and then somebody at United said, how about Michael Carrick? You know, did all right against Chelsea and Villarreal. With you sort of helping him out, he could be the next manager. Please, God, no. No, God, no. Please, no, God, no. No, I could not handle. I could not handle that. I could not handle that at all. It would make me cry. Michael Carrick is not a manager of Manchester United, and neither. You know, we've got to go and get somebody good. Ed Woodward kept his word. He sure took his sweet as time on appointing a new manager 3+ years, says Carlos. Thank you very much for the super chat, Carlos. And Asset with the super chat says, even Rangnick needs to adapt to the club. Man United is not like his earlier clubs where only targeting players on their second or third contracts makes sense. Manchester United has much higher title ambitions. Hopefully he finds the sweet spot. Look, I think Asset makes a really good point. I'd love to know how all of you feel, because I do not believe that we should be thinking about anything to do with titles or Champions League or anything like that. I know it happened with Mourinho. I certainly thought Mourinho was coming to win us a trophy. With Van Gaal, I hoped that was going to happen. I must admit with Moyes, I really just didn't like that Moyes appointment. I didn't expect titles to come. And with Ollie, it was like, I think I associated the word patience with Ollie. I was like, he's an interim manager who's got the job. He's got a lot to learn. Hopefully he can learn on the job quickly and we can do well. And he never did he? It never happened. So with Rangnick, we should not be talking about titles. There should be no consideration about titles or Champions Leagues. It really is a rebuild. I said this to somebody this afternoon. I said, do you realise what's happened at Manchester United? And they were like, well, what do you mean? I said, this is a reset. Do you know what a reset is? You know when you reset your router or something like that, what happens? It starts blinking for about 2 minutes while it refigures. This is a reset at Manchester United. This is a throw it in the bin. This is shredder time. And I'm not talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm talking about paper shredder. All the plans of the last 3 years are shredded. This is building brick one. There is no structure in place that Rangnick is going to use from Ollie. The only thing he's going to use is the things he has to use, which is the playing squad for now. This is a total reset. And anybody who thinks it's not doesn't understand the way we've been playing football for the last 3 years and the way Rangnick's career is. Completely different, night and day. So if it's a reset and a rebuild, unfortunately, that word patience does have to reappear. But the reason I think we can swallow patience again is because on the face of it, the idea is one that befits Manchester United. And there will have to be some patience. Now, I hope that we hit the ground running. Tuchel certainly did with Chelsea, but Tuchel had a very balanced squad at Chelsea. He had a good balance of midfielders, good balance of defenders, and a good balance of strikers. In fact, probably the weakest area was striker, but everything else was strong. Wingers, attacking midfielders, defenders. I don't think we've got that balance in our team at the moment, but I hope we can hit the ground running. We've certainly got a lot of fixtures after Arsenal where you would hope we can win most of our games, but then confidence builds. Then it's January transfer window. Maybe you can bring a midfielder in. Bit of momentum. Maybe we can have a good cup run in the FA Cup and the Champions League. So there is hope, but I think as an absolute ceiling for this season, top 4, FA Cup, Champions League semi-final. I think those 3 things from this season should be applauded from the position we're in now. Now, if Ollie'd done that at the start of the season with what he had and where he'd come from and the squad he'd built, I think we'd be saying he wouldn't get the sack off top 4 in FA Cup and a Champions League semi-final, but you'd probably expect a little bit more. You'd expect a title race. So we're still setting the bar very high for Rangnick. That's what I'm saying. I think some people think, oh, well, you're saying that's good enough for Rangnick, but it wasn't good enough for Ollie. I actually would sit here and say, this is about laying foundations, says Red Baron, something we can get behind. With Ollie, I never believed in the path he was going down. And welcome to Members Club, Ebenezer. But no, I absolutely do. Edward would. I absolutely do want to say that actually, what I'm saying here is, I think the absolute ceiling for Rangnick this season, and what would be a very good 7 months, so if he goes above this, it would be sensational, is to win an FA Cup, to get top 4, and to get a semi-final in the Champions League. I think that would be fantastic from this position that we're in now, which is, let me remind you, 5 points from 24. Very lucky Champions League qualification run. So if we can get that FA Cup final, Champions League semi-final, top 4, that would be a very, very, very good return. And I don't expect it, to be honest. I don't think we'll win the FA Cup. We might not get to the Champions League semi-final. I do expect top 4. So that would be really good. But as I said, if Ollie had got top 4, FA Cup and Champions League semi-final, he wouldn't have got the sack. And some people would have said, well, he should, but he wouldn't have got the sack. So, we're still setting the bar very high for Rangnick, because if Ollie delivers what I want Rangnick to deliver, or I think, would be amazing, Ollie wouldn't have got the sack from that. So, David says he wants to win the FA Cup. I've got to be honest, I'm not massively bothered about the FA Cup. It would be nice to win a trophy, but because we are in I don't think we've been without a trophy this long since, was it 19... I think the gap between winning the Cup in 90 and whenever the last Cup was, it 5 years, 85 to 90 FA Cup. I think that's the longest period of time we've been without a trophy, and this is the second longest time. So yeah, it's a long time, and we do need a trophy, but I'd love to win the Champions League. Strictious, thank you very much for the super chat there, and Rangnick is working. I'm not reading that. And we can maybe get the FA Cup, says Frank. But you know what? If you got the FA Cup and you didn't get top 4, that would be a shit season. The priority is to get top 4, because we need to be in the Champions League. And that is the priority, isn't it? Christian, Mark, do you think that because Ralf was able to develop Haaland's talent and he had the eye to see that he'd be able to do the same with Mason, says Christian? I don't want to commit on any player. All I want to say to you is that I will be giving every player a clean slate. Every player. For me, when Rangnick comes in, it's a reset. And, I can sit here and say, why the hell has Harry Maguire been playing more than Eric Bailly? Because he's been crap this season. But it's a reset. I can say McFred have lost nearly every battle we've played in the midfield this season, and we've played nearly 20 games. But it's a reset. I could say, I've not been impressed with Marcus Rashford's work rate this season, but it's a reset. So I can't predict what's going to happen with players, and I can't predict what's going to happen with players that are going to be liked and players that are not going to be liked. But all I can say is, you're probably going to be a situation where players that you like don't get in the team, but players that you do like get in the team. And there might be players that you thought would get in the team that don't get in the team. So, and that's what you want in a reset. You want a total change, and I think that's exciting. And I think if you go into this with any agenda on against any player, whether it be, I don't know, well, anyone, then you're tarnishing your own experience here, because in a reset, it's a reset for everybody, and I feel that you're not allowing the reset if you take an agenda over there. And I think if you take an agenda over there, you are bringing a bit of negativity into what's meant to be a very positive experience. We will pick negativities up along the way anyway. Like, a reset doesn't mean we're never going to lose, never going to play bad, never going to have to sack our manager again. Like, in 3 years' time, we might be sacking the manager. You know, in 7 months' time, this might be a bloody disaster. So there are no guarantees, but I think, well, what I'm going to do is, it's just a clean slate for everyone. It's a reset. Very quickly, it might become clear that even with a reset, those players ain't good enough. That probably will happen with some of them. But I think that I would advise people, and you don't listen to me, you form your own opinion. If you're excited about this change and you're looking forward to it, I would take a deep breath and say, look, I'm just going to look at it in an excited way and judge everybody under a new manager. Because if you are one of those people like me, that I didn't really blame the players. These players don't pick themselves. They can't sub themselves. They can't say where they're playing. The coaching team do that. And it was very clear to me that the coaching was abysmal and it was impacting on everybody. We've now got a good coach. Let's see what happens. As I said a few days ago, it's all eyes on the players now. There's no excuses. The coaching's going to be good. You can't hide behind bad coaching. We know the coaching was bad under Ollie. Funnily enough, Ollie didn't do the coaching, as he said himself, but the coaching was bad. Let's see what happens, and I'm looking forward to it. You think Salah should have come higher in the Ballon d'Or? I don't take any notice of the Ballon d'Or Spurs for the win. I don't even know what the ranking was, but I don't take any notice of it. Welcome to Members Club, Patrick Donegan. Just saying, the master can learn from his apprentices as well. Klopp and Tuchel play his style, but Klopp did bring in players like Salah, Thiago and Fabinho, hoping to see an identity on the field, says Asset. And one thing I'm looking forward to getting rid of, this delusional mindset of this coaching staff and the players. The staff think they've done well, says Nate H. And what's your score prediction? The Arsenal mark, who will pick the team on Thursday, says Harris. I'm hoping Rangnick's going to have some involvement, but you've got to say that it's going to be a Carrick team, really. In the way that 100% we will see the favourites. We will see McFred, we will see Maguire, we will see Rashford, we will see Bruno. So that makes it a Carrick team, doesn't it? Mark, it's time for a clean slate. I don't care if it's Phil Jones and he signs Fellaini back if he wins, says Brad Lewis. Great point. And just look, somebody just hit on a really good point there. This needs to change within Manchester United Football Club. Ed Woodward, numerous times, there's been stories about how he thinks he does a good job and gets unfair criticism. Well, you don't get unfair criticism because people don't wake up in the morning and think, I'm going to pick on Ed Woodward. They say things about you because of the way the club has been run. We also heard a few weeks ago that the coaching felt that they were getting a lot of unnecessary stick. I can't remember what period it was. I think it might have been the international break after the Everton draw. But it was before we were getting hammered anyway. And there was a story that came out that the coaching felt that they were getting a lot of unfair stick and not getting the credit they deserve. So there is a potential, when you listen to these stories and hear of them, there's a potential issue within that football club of ignorance, and you've got to get rid of that. If you want to win in life, you've got to get rid of ignorance. You cannot ignore critics when there's a lot of them, because there might be some reason for that. And look, sometimes you get critics because people are jealous and they hate you because of that. And if you're being successful, like Sir Alex, you sort of go, well, let them hate. But when you're not doing well and people are being critical of you, you might want to look at yourselves. And I think at United, whether it's the board, whether it's the layer between the board and the coaching, or whether it's the coaching themselves, there has been this feeling around the club for 3 years that they think they're doing a good job, and the critics are just, well, there's been words like hysterical used in relation to football fans around Manchester United. So, I think they've been blinkered. I think they've been ignorant. And, the great thing about bringing someone like Rangnick is, I'm not saying he listens to social media, but he knows how to play football. And, the reality is we've been doing it very wrong. Realistically, United should be aiming for Champions League quarter-final, semi-final, FA Cup trophy and a 3rd or 4th Premier League finish. But if it's trophyless, fans shouldn't go bonkers, says DC. Look, I think that's a good point as well. If we finished 4th and got knocked out of the FA Cup early and got knocked out of the Champions League early, you can't judge it until you've witnessed it, but I would sit here and say that will probably be because the midfield's not good enough. The midfield was not good enough at the start of the season. It wasn't good enough last year, and it's not good enough now. The midfield's just not good enough. Matic is past it, and we've spoken about the others quite. We don't know enough about Donny. We don't even know if he can play in there. Pogba's injured, and then that leaves McTominay and Fred, who've obviously been spoken about quite a lot. So the midfield's just not good enough as it is. Now, one or two of those players could become good enough, but I still think we need more depth in there. Fellaini is a better Man United signing than Pogba. I can't seem to convince myself otherwise, says Jack the Lad. I couldn't stand Fellaini. I got to be honest, if you've been watching the United stand long enough, people accuse me of having agendas against players, which I genuinely do not. But Fellaini, I would probably say I did. I just could not. You know, we were a lot smaller as a channel when Fellaini was at Manchester United. But if he was about now, you would really say you've got an agenda. I just could not shut up about Fellaini. I just could not stand him in a United shirt. Probably a really nice guy. It's all about football for me. I don't really care about what they're like off the pitch. It's football. It's entertainment. You know, human beings are human beings and should have you should have respect for them. But as a footballer in a Man United shirt, he symbolised everything I didn't want to see about Manchester United. But a lot of it, he was a cult hero with some. He wasn't quite a cult hero for me. 3 of the letters were right, but no, I'm joking. I just couldn't get on with Fellaini in a United shirt. I don't think there was any time where I was happy with him. It's not about winning the trophy, to be honest. It's about seeing the team play the United way again, says Ebenezer. Mark, what do you think of Chelsea's clear tactical fouling plan against us, and do you think Ralf will use it? Also, should be an automatic yellow, says Mustafa. I mean, I think it's clever. I think Pep's been doing it for a long time. You know, if you foul, I mean, Man City do it a lot. And again, it sort of goes hand in hand. Mancini, really, says Josh Newton. And Rangnick era has begun. All these doubters need to be silent. They said the same about Fergie. That's from Ray S. But look, I was talking about this last night, and you developed a good point there. If you think about what we were talking about last night about, and Rangnick's words again, it's about how high you want to win the ball up the pitch. Now, the higher you win the ball up the pitch, the more distance it is from the opposition to your goal, and the less distance it is for you to their goal, and probably less players as well if you win it from their defence, etc. Pep's been doing this for years, tactical fouls, where you take, they're on the break from their own half, you take the foul in their own half. You're not going to get a red card for that. You might not even get a yellow card for it. Everyone gets back into position. They've got the ball in their own half. They could lose the ball again. So this tactical fouling, as people call it, is actually, most of the time, it's not a tactical foul. It's the aggression to try and win the ball back. And in the aggression to try and win the ball back, you might commit a foul. So I don't think it is tactical fouling. I just think it's about stopping the opposition moving up the pitch. And sometimes you'll give a foul away, and sometimes you'll give the ball away. It's that aggression that Rangnick's talking about. So you can say that Tuchel was tactical fouling at the weekend. I would probably say it was just aggressive attempts to win the ball back. Either way, it's still part of the plan to keep the ball in the opposition's half, isn't it? Anyway, look, enjoy it. I'm enjoying the fact that we're having more tactical conversations, because we're not, and I know a lot of you are, and I know a lot of you put it in the chat, and I'm enjoying it as well, because I think we've had, Devonshire says, for the first time in ages, I've got a smile on my face, and I feel it as well. I think that for the last 3 years, the tactical analysis of Manchester United has been so boring, is the word. Forget saying rubbish. It's been boring talking about United. We didn't have sustained pressure. We didn't have chance after chance. It really was scraps. It was appalling to tactically analyse Manchester United. A very defensive, slow-tempo, pragmatic side who lives off moments. And even with Mourinho, not just Ollie, 6 years of this. So it's exciting because, I do watch Chelsea, I do watch Liverpool, I do see City, and the way that they tactically play the game is way better than the way we do it. So I'm really excited to be able to watch a game and then re-watch a game and then discuss it after the game on a show about what we did here and how quick we moved the ball here. It's really exciting to see, and hopefully it's going to work. If the players aren't good enough in certain positions, Rangnick might just right away start looking at the youth teams to Summerjet. I hope so. That's what a reset's all about. If you're not good enough, you try somebody else. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. Thoroughly enjoyed the show. Really, really did. If you want to get your Christmas jumpers, by the way, which I forgot I was wearing again, you can get the Goldbridge one. Merry Christmas, you bloody prat. We've also got different ones. Links in the video description on our shop. It's on United Stand Shopify. Brilliant presents you can get. But also, more importantly, Manscaped, 20% off, free shipping worldwide. Brilliant presents you can get for yourself or partners. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger with this, and clear your nostrils to make you breathe easier with this. Thanks for watching. Speak to you soon.